I'd like to take you to Nadali, Helmand Province, Afghanistan, 4th of July 2009. So I am leading my company of 160 men and 2 women in a fight against the Taliban as part of the largest British ground offensive operation ever to have taken place. It's about 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We've been fighting for several hours in temperatures approaching 50 degrees centigrade. So I'm sweating a lot. And suddenly I hear a eruption of machine gun fire and several loud explosions over to my left. I dash forward with that lead platoon because I can see a bank in front of us, some cover. So I have survival instinct. That is me making a survival decision. Almost immediately I hear over the radio in my earpiece from 27-year-old Lieutenant Guy Disley. 0 Alpha, 20 Alpha, contact, casualties. I need a heli. I think I've lost my leg. Over. My focus was now on the safe and quick extraction of these casualties. The helicopter lands, and I remember seeing again to my left the first person, which is Guy Disley, on a stretcher being carried onto the helicopter. My last memory of Afghanistan is watching that helicopter fly away to my right. I've been told, I've got no memory of this, I've been told I then walked over to my Sergeant Major and we were having a chat. And as we did so, Lance Corporal Dennis stood on an IED. Boom! It sent his body above tree height. About 40 metres away. It took an hour to find his body. And when they did so, it was missing, or both his legs and an arm was blown off. The blast devastated my tactical headquarters. It knocked my Sergeant Major over unconscious. It knocked my forward air control over unconscious. My company signaller. The blast punctured, or the pressure wave punctured both of my eardrums. Shrapnel punctured the back of my skull, through my cerebellum, stopping millimetres away from my brainstem. I also suffered severe internal bruising from where the brain smashed into the confines of my skull. I was found several metres away in a fetal position, cradling my head with a radio antenna embedded in the back of my skull. I suffered a traumatic brain injury. A couple of weeks after I got out of my coma, I was able to identify and know who my wife was. I knew who I was, but I still thought I was living in Cardiff in 2003. I could recognise my then only daughter, who was 9, from a photograph. Since my injury, I've become fascinated by the brain and how it works, and the mind. And I wish I knew before what I know now, because I would have been a better person, and I would have been a better leader. Imagine your brain then, please, is a bucket. And I can see there are some large buckets here, some smaller ones, and I think on the front row a couple of empty ones. Next to this bucket is a jug of water. Now that water represents information. So you pour water into the bucket. And the water that flows out, that is your brain doing something with that information. It's ignoring it, it's memorising it, it's making a decision from it, whatever it is, whatever it is. But if you pour the water too quickly for it to filter out, then the water will rise and rise and rise until it overflows. And that's when you're overexhausted or you're exhausted and your brain cannot take in any more information. So when you are stressed, when everyone wants a piece of you, and you say, I'm stressed, I can't think straight. Correct, you can't. Physiologically and neurologically, you cannot think. So I struggle with the speed of processing information. I find executive functioning exhausting. I have some memory problems and attention distraction. I have severe and persistent tinnitus and bilateral hearing loss. I've also got an arthritic right toe, which has got nothing to do with my injury, but it really hurts. I have become the antithesis, the opposite of what I was. From commanding hundreds, potentially thousands, because I had a long career ahead of me, potentially thousands of soldiers, to now to a point where I struggle to manage myself. I am a faulty computer. My hardware is intact, but my software is damaged. I'm a Lamborghini being powered by a Fiat Panda engine. I'm a builder's merchant with a faulty delivery supply line. I used to be an emotionally robust individual before my injury, but then I became emotionally fragile, insecure, unsure of my ability. I started to focus on the negative aspects in my life, and this led to depression. There was a period where I felt quite suicidal, but I didn't. Partly because, well, mainly because I changed my mindset. By realizing, over time, it takes effort, by realizing that I could not afford the luxury of entertaining these negative thoughts. So acknowledge when you have a negative thought. It does take time and effort. Accept it and then park it. And what that does release that negative emotion from your bucket. It allows the water to flow out, allows you to think better and think more clearly. Now, I don't give you my view on leadership from some isolated military perspective. I've dealt with civilians. I've worked with civilian organisations and military organisations. Different cultures, different nationalities, different size organisations, small teams, large teams. And my views remain the same. Now, it's easy to define actually leadership. You just need to look in the Oxford English Dictionary, which I did. Leadership, the action of leading, okay, leading. To lead, to draw, to guide, to take someone or something with you. Someone or something with you. It is about getting people to believe in you. Getting people to make them feel valued. Getting people to make them feel that they matter. And they are trust, compassion, and courage. When you're able to deal with your negative emotions, you will become a better person and a better leader. Intensifying marketplace demands, increased competition, overload of information, technology. These are all reasons why leaders and organisations now need to have greater poise, agility, composure, patience than ever before. The quality of our thinking determines the quality of our lives. How you use your bucket will determine how you live your life. Thank you very much.